the higher the quality of the machine that you buy, the more likely you're going to find this and a safety filter. Those are the two things that you're going to see. So I just want to say this right here. The dirtier the air filter gets, the cleaner it's going to clean. And what happens is, as the dirt builds up on the paper element, what's going to happen is the size of particle that can go through the filter has to get smaller. And so the smaller it gets, the finer the filtration. And so that's why if people allow their filter to stay dirty, it'll actually do a better job of filtering than if you clean it every single day and try to keep it clean. And it's a misnomer in the auto industry that your air filter has to look pearly white every time you look at it. Auto industry sells parts, and they tell you that if your air filter doesn't look like this, then you have to replace it. But the reality is, the dirtier it gets, the more it's going to filter. Now, there's a point in which it's going to be too dirty, and you're going to lose horsepower. And that's where these indicators come in. They tell you, hey, I'm starting to get restriction that's more than you want. You need to change your air filter. And the point that you actually change that air filter will be pretty severe. So we can look at this as we leave, but this is an example of an air filter. One, it's been damaged physically by being cleaned way too much. But this is what an air filter will look like when it actually reaches the restriction indicator. And I'm going to show you what a safety filter looks like that's doing its job. So, but when you pull out one that actually is indicated with these markers, it will be this dirty. So don't be surprised by it. There's just a few things that I want to do to wrap up on the service part of this. We kind of ended at this point where it says the dirtier it gets, the better it works. We talked about the fact that as an air cleaner gets plugged up and more dirt gets on it, the holes get smaller, so it actually has a finer filtration. And that's one of the things that's really hard to get people to understand, because in the auto industry, if your air cleaner looks like this, which is still kind of white but it looks dirty, oh, that's dirty, you need to replace it. And they make a lot of money by selling you parts. They sell a lot of spark plugs, a lot of air cleaners, and so they make money on you, convincing you that unless it's perfectly white, and if it doesn't look like this, then it needs to be replaced. And so that's kind of a misnomer that's hard to get people to get past. It doesn't have to look, an air cleaner doesn't have to look black, but
They might have pulled that trick on me.
if you look through an air cleaner and you can see a lot of light, then it has a lot of space to come through. And so, and I'll pass this one around. What I want to show you here is I have two air filters, and we're going to talk kind of a little bit about the quality of the air filter. I went down to Shucks and I bought a Pennzoil air filter. Has anybody bought Pennzoil air filters? That's kind of what they sell you at Jiffy Lube. And they're kind of like this one. And you look at the number of pleats that's here and the gap between each one of the pleats. The cheaper the air filter, the less paper, the less cleaning surface there is. And when you buy a Pennzoil air filter, they're about as cheap as you can get. And they don't cost much, but you're getting what you pay for. And when you look at it, the paper is just almost pure paper, and the gaps between them is really wide. This here is a Napa Gold. So this is their premium top-of-the-line air filter. And you look at the number of paper pleats in here, and there's quite a few in there. And so it has a lot more surface to clean. This filter, which is actually the direct replacement of this one, this is an OEM filter. This is actually off of a Honda Accord. And so I went to Napa and said, I want to have a really good filter to put in place of it. So this is the best filter that they had. And if you compare these two together, this one pales compared to the quality of this one. And so when I look at this one, it has a lot of really fine cotton fibers. And the finer the cotton fibers, the more material that's kind of hanging out there that'll stop the dirt before it penetrates. And so this one's obviously going to be more expensive than this one, but you're going to have better filtration. So I'll pass these around. This is an example of one that really hasn't reached its prime, but it's pretty dirty. And so we just went ahead and replaced it just because we were servicing the whole vehicle. But this isn't really actually reached it. And if you look at the light you're going to see that there's tons of light that comes through it. This thing could have went a lot longer than that. This filter here was in the car for about 60,000 miles. And you go and have your vehicle serviced, they'll change it every 10,000 or 5,000 if you let them. And so just be careful about that.